Are you being audited? And do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mircea Basaraba.
And I'm Mara Hutchings, nurse practitioner. Welcome to Southern Tennessee Cardiology. Here at Southern Tennessee Cardiology, we offer a variety of testing done right here in our office. Along with our highly trained and skilled staff, we have the latest technology for cardiac stress testing, high-tech ultrasound, and cardiac monitoring. Whether you are experiencing chest pain, palpitations, or need clearance for surgery, Southern Tennessee Cardiology is here for your cardiac needs.
Happy Friday. I can't be any more happier on a Friday than having Ted Engel on the show. It's like political geek on for us. I mean, in fact, this morning I was having coffee with Eric and goes, well, who's on the show? He's oblivious. I said, remember Ted Engel when his dad was, I thought, trying to take signs and upstairs, and I was like going to come up there and say what to the person stealing my Ted Engel.
You forgot to mention that you brought a shotgun.
I did. All right. Don't mess with my signs, especially with. I'm serious. Elections matter. We know that like the back of our hand. And I just want the good guys to win. So that's what we're here today. We're going to talk about, well, first was free speech. I think that's how started it. But if I've got Ted in the chair, we're going to talk about others.
Like I said a minute ago, I can come with an opinion on just about anything. So
let's just start out real quick. What's up with the public? Is it busy lately?
It's busy. It's always busy. Unfortunately, well, that if it's busy, that means there's a lot of arrests. That's we don't. That's not a good necessarily. But yeah, we're getting ready to have a new person coming on board, a new attorney. So there's a little bit of change happening in the public defender's office. We have 10 attorneys. This will take us to 11 total attorneys. So yeah, it's an exciting time. Lots of everything in the court system seems to be going well.
Wow, and everybody's just working. I've seen a lot with DA and everything. Any hot spikes of anything?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of just a steady stream of the same kind of expect. Addiction's obviously still a major issue
Okay.
that we deal with, and fortunately, there are a lot of community resources trying to tackle that, especially right here in Grundy County. You know, Grundy County just a tragic spate of overdoses.
Oh, geez.
And the communities really come together to try to address that, provide resources for people who are struggling with addiction, to hopefully, number one, get them out of the criminal justice system, and number two, save their lives. So that there's been a really great outpouring of community support for that.
Do you think with this, because we're going to do a prayer vigil, I don't know if y'all are doing it, Ray, for Charlie Kirk's birthday.
We actually had one about 2 weeks ago.
I thought you were,
Yep.
yeah, okay. Do you think that will help? I mean, it's kind of put a different spin for us in Grundy.
Well, I think certainly prayer always helps to
Right.
some degree. I mean, I think that one thing that I think is interesting is that I've seen are just people who never really thought about politics, maybe, but they knew who Charlie Kirk was. I mean, he's such a I'm going to confess here, I've always been such a political junkie that he was kind of just somebody else to me, like that I knew was out there, and I didn't really realize how important he was to so many people who watched his videos, and you know, the only exposure to politics they got perhaps were clips of him on a college campus, especially among young people. I didn't realize how impactful he was until I saw just the outpouring of grief over this. I mean, because obviously it's a tragic thing, it's a horrific thing that he was killed. And obviously, you know, he's somebody who politically, I'm sure I agreed with on most issues. Most of the things he said, I've agreed with, not all, but most. But to see just the people that I never really thought of as being politically engaged people that I'm friends with on Facebook or that I know personally, just the outpouring of grief over the death of Charlie Kirk, the murder of Charlie Kirk, is remarkable.
Well, and I'm pretty much like with you. I knew he was important to getting President Trump elected with the young people, and I know that he went on to campus. You know, we all knew him. He's been in the gig for like since he was 18. But yeah, the faith part, I don't think I knew completely about his priorities and his focus and his family, and I don't think I realized.
Yeah, for me, it was how uniquely important he was to so many people. I mean, he really, I think, looking back, he occupied a unique place in our politics. There was just nobody else that occupied that same niche of, hey, not only do I have these strong opinions, but I want to go engage with people who don't agree with those opinions and talk to them. And you know, when you watch these campus videos, he's not changing the mind of whoever it is he's talking to, but there are a lot of people in that audience that just came out to see an event that maybe didn't have very strongly formed views on a particular issue, and that's who he's reaching. And also, you know, I think this kind of ties back into the prayer vigil. We organized one in Ray County. It was 1 week after he was assassinated, and you know, one of the things I did was I was putting it together, and I wanted to call a preacher in town, a pastor, to come give kind of a sermon on at the prayer vigil. And I called him and I asked him. I said, hey, would you be willing to speak for us? Give a Bible lesson. And he was a little bit hesitant because he's not a particularly political guy necessarily, and he's a pastor at a large Baptist church in Ray County. And he said, well, Ted, you know, if I do this, I'm going to be calling people to the cross. And you know, I said, well, Pastor, I'm glad to hear you say that. That's exactly what we want you to do, because you know there are going to be people who come out to this vigil who aren't Christian, or maybe are struggling with it, and they need to hear the gospel. And what an opportunity to spread the good news of Jesus. And so, and Charlie Kirk did that. I mean, when you watch his videos, he would tie his, like you said, he would tie his faith in to this. And you know, people come for a political spectacle, right? But while they're there, they're hearing the message of Jesus. And you know, that's continuing in his death, you know, with all these vigils that are going on, where people are there because they're torn up about the politics of it all, but they're hearing a gospel message while they're there, and that's an important thing.
Well, and we will obviously we'll get to free speech because we're moving in that direction with all of it. I think that as a role model for men, for a young man in a family, all of these addiction issues, all of these issues that you have in your role could be solved by a strong male Christian in a family.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, a lot of people, and this is purely anecdotal.
Yeah.
I'm not a sociologist, you
Yeah.
know, but I've certainly sat across the table from thousands of people that are struggling with substance issues, and a lot of it, you know, there are as many, there are a lot of causes of that, right? But one thing that you see a lot of times is people, they don't know what else to do. They just feel kind of aimless sometimes. And a lot of people who are struggling with it, who are you know, they're trying to get clean, but they just haven't gotten there yet. A lot of times you can tell these are people that just don't feel a purpose. And you know, the central message of Christ is that we're important. Everybody's important. Every single person on this earth was important enough that Jesus, and that's the core message of Christianity right there. And Charlie Kirk, I think, did a great job of doing that. When you talk about having a role model like Charlie Kirk, who's living, you see the impact that Christ had on his life. And boy, if you got somebody who's really struggling to see that, well, you would think they'd want that for them. So I think that's a great value, somebody like Charlie Kirk. You know, you talk about him being a role model. That's one of the things that really concerns me about assassination, is that he was such a role model. And there are people out there. You get on the internet, there are as many political opinions as you want. You can consume them all day. And there are a lot of people that are out there in that space that aren't the kind of role model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one. And so, well, anyway, all right, let's talk about the free speech aspect that is going on here in America. What does it really mean?
Well, I think free speech is really interesting because there is no more American value speech.
Yeah.
You know, it's right there with the right to keep and bear arms. And you know, America was founded as a nation of citizens subject, right? And a core part of that is the ability for every person to be able to freely express their opinion on how things should work, how the government should operate. You know, you can't be a citizen if you can't speak. And it's interesting because, frankly, you know, there's nobody who's more pro free speech than the party that's out of power at any given time. It's kind of what it seems like, because you know, free speech is, we have a raucous debate in this country about everything. You know, everything we do is controversial, it seems like, right? If you express any opinion, there's somebody out there that's going to disagree. Mm-hmm. And so anytime something like this, like with the assassination, you know, I think what made this topical was a lot of frankly disgusting opinions being expressed. You know, I mean, I've got people that I know that I'm friends with that I've known for years that I don't agree with, right? But I'm friends with them. But I've seen them just say just the most disgusting things about
Ugly,
Charlie. Just
horrible.
Horrific. And
horrible.
But this is America, and you get to say disgusting things. So not all disgusting things, but a lot of disgusting things. And so, I mean, it's certainly, anytime something's so divisive, it is a dangerous free speech. And you know, it takes as I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said that our liberties are, our Constitution for immoral, because an immoral people could not exist. Right? Yeah. And it takes a lot of moral firmness to be able to say, okay, what that person just said there is just making me boil inside. But they say,
yeah,
you know what? Same right to protect them also protect, say what I believe.
Yeah, but what about the Jimmy thing? I mean, is that a capitalist? Hey, you got bad ratings. What do you feel?
That's my read on it. You know, it's complicated by one factor, and that is the FCC.
Yeah.
He made some comments that probably would have been better. You know, I think free speech, for one thing, we're talking about the First Amendment, it only applies to the government, right? So if I work for ABC and I'm spouting off a bunch of trash on TV, ABC's free to fire me because I'm bad for ratings, right? That's not a free speech issue. That's a capital issue. Yeah. That's just, hey, they're a company. They exist to make money. If nobody wants to advertise in their show anymore because only 100,000 people watch it every night, then guess what? We'll get rid of him, right? So I think and really, this goes back to, I guess, kind of a non-intervention. ABC was ready to get rid of him, bad for business. And if when you have somebody like the FCC chairman start talking about it and commenting on it, maybe not necessarily threatening, but implying that the weight of the federal government is going to intervene in this, then it takes the profit motive was going to get to the right place. So it's better if the government just kind of stays out of that and let the market take care of it, which it was apparently about.
It was about to.
Yeah.
And now he's got 1 billion viewers because he's a train wreck.
Right. Hey, they love controversy.
They
right?
do. Oh my gosh. So, how does President Trump is a Nazi?
I don't agree with that.
I don't either. So why would that? I mean, is there anything that he is doing that would be that?
Why would people call Trump a Nazi?
Well, I mean, we know that.
Right.
Okay,
they want to try to win an election, and they're running in these deep blue areas.
Yeah, I mean that's just that. But is he doing anything that would be tromping on our Constitution?
You know, I think the best. I can't remember who said it. Some famous political figures. The best way to determine how free a society is size, right?
Mm.
I don't know about you, but you look around the world, around the internet, you can say whatever you want to about Donald Trump. I don't think actual Nazis would tolerate, would tolerate the kind of opinions that get expressed. I mean, in this country, I saw a picture just the other day of a car that had a bumper sticker that said "Make assassinations great again," and it was in the style of a Trump, "Make America great again." It said "Make assassinations." That's a pretty disgusting political opinion. But there's nobody pulling him over and hauling that person out and hauling him off to jail, right? If Donald Trump was a Nazi, I assure you that person would not be allowed to drive around with that sticker on it, right? I mean, we live in a constitutional republic that has procedural safeguards at every level to protect individual freedom and to protect the right to express yourself, the right to speak. And I really, frankly, don't care who the president is, how authoritarian they are. Our republic is so strong that our founders were brilliant, and they set up a system that is so protective of individuals that it really foreigners just people in some countries just can't understand it.
They have no idea.
They have no idea. And kind of back to the freedom of speech. One thing that's remarkable is when you read Supreme Court and you go back 50 years and start reading forward to 60 years, 70 years, start reading forward to the free speech issues. Like you go back 50 years, a lot of the cases seem to be about cross-burning. Right?
Oh, right.
If you go forward a few more years, it becomes about just racist speech. Cross-burning is obviously racist speech, but less specific racist speech, more just general being offended, right? You come forward to a little further, and the cases tend to be. There was a famous one about. You remember that church in Oklahoma that would go protest soldiers' funerals?
Oh, that would make me so mad.
Right. And so there was a case about that, and the flavors of it change as time goes on, but more remarkably, the makeup of the court. So you think about everybody talks about the Warren Court in the 60s and how far left, right? Mm-hmm. And then you fast forward to today, and we have a court that is we have 6 pretty conservative Supreme Court justices and 3 pretty liberal Supreme Court justices. So it's not really a closely divided court anymore, right? And so there's been a lot of change ideologically, but one thing that remains consistent when you read those cases is the intense commitment that our institutions have to the freedom of speech, all the way down the line. I mean, it's if you get cases where if it's about so-called hate speech, things that are offensive, that it would seem that people on the political left would be more apt to want to try to restrict. The Supreme Court justices, those cases, they tend to turn out 8-1 or 9-0. I mean,
all agree.
One thing that our institutions agree on is a firm commitment to freedom of speech.
Wow, that's amazing. But what do you do about the violent and the aspect of that. I mean, that, like, you can't yell fire in a theater.
That's the classic example, yeah. And where that comes from, that comes from a case that actually was during World War One, when there was a socialist passing out literature encouraging resistance to the draft, where that language comes from. And that case has since been overturned by subsequent cases that are more protective of speech. But still, that the maxim remains the same. You can't go into a theater and falsely shout fire inside of it, right? But I think where at least the law draws the line is how immediate is that. So we protect very closely advocacy, right? Even advocacy for discussing things. And so I think America has made a policy through in our Constitution and through the judicial decisions interpreting that over the last century, as it relates to free speech, where we're saying, hey, we're going to tolerate a lot of just disgusting, a lot of ideas that are really unpopular, harmful to society if they ever came to fruition. And what we're going to draw the line as is, if speech is being made calling for some sort of action, but people have a chance to think about it before they do it, we're going to punish the people that do it rather than. And that's kind of the line that I think that judges have drawn. The classic. So where that language about fire in a crowded theater, where that comes up, is in the site, right, inciting a riot. Yeah. And when you see people saying things that are like violent speech, yeah, right, that comes up in the context of incitement. And America, our Constitution is so protective that really, think of it like a match to gasoline, right? Throwing the match may not be free speech, but the gasoline fuel has to already be. So if you're calling for some sort of action home on your computer, that's one thing. If you're doing it in front of a crowd standing out holding the lit torch, that's another. Right? Okay. So that's kind of where the law draws.
Yeah, because it is a fine balance.
Yeah, it is. Because what it is, it's, you don't, obviously, with the way the courts look at it is they don't want to chill speech, yeah, right? But they want to prevent just immediate.
Yeah, sometimes I couldn't pass the logic test of the LC, so I could never go.
I'm not sure how well I did on that either. But.
All right, so then a topic that I think I disagreed with you on, because I mean even though I love Ted Engel, I don't even agree with Eric, 100% of the time, right? So, but that makes it spicy. I think it was the immigration issue and getting rid of folks. I think you had a comment.
Oh yeah,
the constitutional rights or the rights of them.
So I think what that was about was like, and I'll tell you right, I am very in favor of having orders, enforcing our laws. Yeah. And it's frustrating to me when we have a president, which we used to have, we don't have it currently, who just completely abdicates.
Yeah.
Right. And it's my personal position that somebody's in the country illegally, they should be deported, because if we don't do that, we don't enforce that law, then there's tremendous incentive to come illegal. America is such a wonderful place. It's rich, and not we say that we're a rich country. By the standards of most of the world, we're unfortunate. Yes. I remember when I was a kid, you'd see things that had, America was always a rich country, a large economy, but you would see GDP per capita in America would be probably in the 30s. Not anymore. It's near the top. So not only are we rich in the aggregate, we're rich individually compared to most. So we're a place where everybody would obviously want to come to, and if we don't enforce our immigration laws, if we don't deport people who come here illegally, we're going to get more of the same, right? I think what we were talking about was actually, does due process apply?
Yeah,
and it does, and I'll tell you why. So all due process is, I think people have this image in their mind that what due process means is you get like a full-blown jury little thing, and that's not necessarily what due process is. At its most fundamental level is just an opportunity to have the government tell you what it's trying to do to you, and then for you to heard as to whether that should happen, right? And so where that comes in the immigration context, what due process is let's say I'm an immigration and I go down to a Home Depot, and there's a group of guys side day labor hoping to get hired. I walk up and I grab one of them and I say, I don't believe you're in the country legally, right? All due process means is the guy has a chance to go in front of a judge and say, here's my birth certificate. I was born in Tennessee, right? That's all due process really means. It means that a judge gets to makes the decision on, hey, is this person deportable? Is this person actually an illegal immigrant? Rather, because without due process, then what you could have is a official there on the street can snatch up whoever they want and send them or wherever the place may be, without any opportunity for the person to say, no, wait a minute, I'm actually an American citizen. Here's
because that would be just
yeah, that's all due process really is a chance to say, wait a minute, hey, they made a mistake. Government's making a mistake. That's what due process. That's true at every country. That's what due process.
That makes sense. See, that's why we talk to people, because that makes sense to me. I just want them out. The bad, the thugs, the killers, the pedophiles, all them that have broken into our home.
Yeah,
they need to go.
And here's where there's really where the immigration system is. Due process is frustrating because we've made it more than it has to, right? Because the law as it is currently is I can come into the country illegally, sneak across the border, maybe bring fentanyl.
Sure,
since I'm coming
back
anyway, right? And I come to Tennessee, and I'm here 6-8 months. I get caught in a traffic stop, and ICE gets word that I've been arrested and say, hey, wait a minute, this guy's not a citizen. They come to deport me, and I say, oh, wait a minute, I'm afraid to go home. Somebody there's threatening to kill me,
sure.
Right? And so I'm trying to claim asylum. When I didn't. That's not why I didn't come here trying to claim asylum. I came here to smoke drugs, or I came here to work illegally, and I'm claiming asylum once I'm caught. Right? The law allows for that, and what that does is that triggers a process that slows the whole thing down. When it's not, hey, did this person come legally, or hey, is this person a citizen, or hey, does this person have a enforceable right to be here? We suddenly get into this thing. Well, did this person are they really in fear? Like, there's a process for determining whether that asylum claim is valid.
It's so subjective.
It's subjective. It can be very time consuming, and I mean, we're allowing people to claim it once they're already here and caught. Why? Well, if I'm coming to America, I want to come to America because I feel like some gang's going to kill me in my home country. I should be presenting at an embassy. I should be presenting at a port of entry. I shouldn't be sneaking into the country and then claiming that months down the road.
Yeah, but they still get due process.
Well, because of the way the law is written, the Constitution doesn't entitle you, right? Doesn't entitle you to try to claim asylum inside the country when you're caught later. But the way our immigration laws are written.
Oh, okay.
And so what the Constitution says is that the law, effectively, what the Constitution says is that the law has. If Congress passes the law, that's the supreme law of the land. The supreme law of the land is the Constitution, and the laws passed doing it. But so it's what we're dealing with. Part of the inefficiency of our immigration system falls back to the way Congress wrote asylum.
So you have to change the laws in order for this to be fixed.
Right. The whole system can be made more efficient.
We need a Doge a lot.
That's right. What we need to do is we need to get a Doge advisor to Congress and say, hey, let's talk about some things you guys can do to make this.
Well, that moves into the shutdown discussion. What do you think it's about? Is it the immigration? Is it all what's the sticky wicket? Because no one can back down at this point.
Right. I think it's about the and this is kind of becoming and I'm a lifelong Republican.
Yeah, we're dorky like that together.
But the Republican Party's been guilty of this in the past
Absolutely.
too. But it's almost become a thing where when you have the minority party tries to shut down the government, they blame the president for having shut down the government. That's what I think.
Political, because they have to appear strong because their base is
their base will reward them for it, and they can. It's where it is. The government shuts down, both parties blame the other one, and then hopefully they get.
What do you? Is the last one? Trump is the longest. I did that whole research. 30.
I think it was over a month.
So, who could back down off of all this? I mean, there's some major issues.
What it is we're at a point, and it's really kind of been this way back and forth. We're at a point where our government is so close that when one party has 55% seats, then you can afford to lose a straggle, still possible, right? And when you do that, the minority party, that increases the incentive for them to work, right? Because it's going to pass anyway. So hey, let's work together and make it. Right? But when it's so razor thin margins, I think the Republican majority's seats right now in the House, right? When the margins are so razor thin, you can't afford to lose any vote. So if you lose even one or two on a matter of principle, that they just, hey, there's something here I can't vote for, I won't vote for it, then suddenly for the minority party, there's blood in the water. Let's shut the thing down and blame the majority. And that's I think that's really, more than anything, a simple, really close, real small margin.
Well, what fascinated me was because I think something happened in 1976 where they changed the congressional budget process or something. I have no idea. I haven't done the rabbit hole on that. But Carter, who had a Democrat majority in both House and the Senate, probably had the most shut.
Well, if you were either a Democrat or Republican, would you have voted to help Carter?
All right, true story. No, but he was a good man, and so what was interesting was that, like, the Democrat, in Republicanism, there's lots of different branches.
Sure.
Fiscal, social, the military, and back then in Carter, it's hard to imagine a Democrat Party being conservative.
But it was that way. You had a conservative wing.
You had a conservative.
Yes.
It was the Dixiecrats. So
Yes.
it was our Southern folk, the Dixiecrats. I don't think I put that all together until I read it. They were Carter was holding firm, and I think this is how it was, on abortion funding, federal government abortion fund. So he's a good man. He's a Christian man, and I think that's why everybody gave him a pass. The rest of it, by golly, was, thank goodness for Reagan. But yeah, they were in charge, and they were fighting about just.
Well, they had the same problem like you talked about. At that time, the Democratic Party had the same problem the Republicans today, which is, it's both a blessing and a curse. It's a big ideological tent.
Yeah, they had big tent.
Big tent, and so you have when you look at the Republican Party, you have some representatives who are Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are very vocal, very, very MAGA, right? That they're part the America First movement. They're at the forefront of it, and they're leading the charge about it. And then you have other representatives who are Thomas Massey from Kentucky, has a very strong libertarian streak, very small government, and they're existing in the same political party, right? And the Democrats used to have a lot more of that problem. Again, I keep calling it a problem. It's not really a problem. That's not a bad thing to have a big.
It
right?
changes,
but it can make it complicated to govern. And if you went back to the 70s, you have a Democratic Party that's got a lot of really progressive people out of California, out of Massachusetts in it. But you also have a lot of Southern Democrats still, and so that's a really big ideological tent. And when you have a small majority, like you said, you lose one or two of those. If there's something in the budget that Thomas Massey won't vote to support, well, his vote's absolutely vital when that majority is that small. If you satisfy Thomas Massey but make Marjorie Taylor Greene mad, you've run her off, and you're back to the same thing. So every vote is vital.
Yeah, because we're with our big tent, the MAGA move. We fight ourselves more,
Yeah.
but it's coming together. But it's slowly. But now and it's just so fun to watch history. But now the Democrat Party has this really, would you call it progressive? I don't even know it's socialist wing. Let's just go flat out and say what it is. It's a socialist wing.
Yeah, it is. And I think what you've got there is you've always had, if you're a socialist, if you're a socialist in America and you're going to the polls, you've only got two real choices. It's to vote for the Democrats or not vote. Now, obviously, you're not going to vote for the Republicans if you're a socialist, right? But what's happened is I think the Democratic Party historically has been very effective at mobilizing that support without giving into it. Well, that's changing. I mean, what you've got is you've got a wing of the Democratic Party that has gotten so large that is socialists, that they're starting to get office holders. They're starting to win primaries. So you get people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez out of Brooklyn, right? Who or no, the Bronx. She's from the Bronx, out of New York, who are on the very left wing of the Democratic Party, who historically her and her voters would have voted for the Democrat nominee, but they wouldn't have been able to win a primary. So you would have had somebody who was a fairly traditional liberal Democrat, but not a full-blown socialist. Well, now that political movement's big enough to where they're winning primaries, and so it's I don't know why that's happening necessarily. Part of me thinks that a lot of the people that are supporting that political movement are people who just weren't born yet when the Cold War was going on, because right now the prominent socialist countries, the prominent communist countries are Cuba, China, and China's not really communist anymore. They've embraced a lot of capitalist principles economically. They're keeping authoritarian society on the social side, but they've embraced at least some form of capitalism to bring a lot of wealth into the country. I wouldn't call it capitalist necessarily, but they've embraced some capitalist concepts that have grown their economy. And so if you're just somebody who's a college kid in New York, who socialism sounds pretty good to, and you look at China, and you're kind of like, well, look at that, they're a communist country, and look how rich they are, So they didn't watch the evils of the 50 years following World War. They didn't see all the people that died in Mao's Great Leap Forward in China.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't watch that happen. They didn't hear the stories of tens of millions of people dying. That's a historical event for them. That's not a current reality for them. And so I think part of it is explained by that.
Well, I mean, what do you think is going to happen in New York? I'm pretty sure he's going to win, the Mandami fella.
Yeah, I think he's going to win.
I really just don't see any.
I think it's the same thing. The Democrat's always going to win those races.
Yeah.
Barring some really unforeseen circumstance, the Democrat's going to win those races. And he's another example. He had the support to edge out the more moderate Democrat that would have been in the race.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. It really, John Edwards used to talk about two Americas, right? Well, the two Americas really are urban and rural.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we have. We have people that are living in cities, and people that are living in the country, and we're just living two completely different.
Totally different.
Totally. And let me tell you an example of this. I did a master's program several years ago. It was a trial advocacy program, and we had we were doing a component by Zoom, because it was during COVID, right? So they did more stuff by Zoom than they ordinarily would have done, and we were picking a jury by Zoom, which actually worked better than I would have thought. It was really very much like the real thing, but our jurors were college kids, and I was doing this through Temple University in Philadelphia, a major American city, a large urban population, and these kids were all students at Temple, and Temple's not in a great neighborhood if you're not familiar with Philadelphia, and excuse me, and these kids, we're questioning them about their views on things. Questions lawyers ask jurors to see, do they have any preconceived bias about this case? And it's a fake trial. We're doing it like a real thing. And all these college kids, one of the standard questions you would ask when you're picking a jury in a criminal case, which this was a criminal case, is, have you ever been the victim of a violent crime? So I asked that, and I'm seeing, 16, 15, 18, 20 faces on the screen. Average age is 21, probably 20. And I asked, have you ever been the victim of a violent crime? And at least 2/3 of their hands went up, right?
No.
And so you go through once, and well, tell me what happened, and they'd say, well, I live in Philly, so I've been mugged a couple times, it's like it's normal to have been the victim of an armed robbery, right?
Oh my gosh.
And to them, I guess they can't imagine a place like Grundy County where you can walk down the street without being afraid of somebody robbing you, right? That's not a fact of life, that
It's
you're
not
going to
a
be
fact of
robbed,
life,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
but it is to them, and
That's weird.
To me, that was the most illuminating thing I've ever seen of just how fundamentally different the urban experience is in this country experience. That just does not compute with me. That I might have an expectation of being robbed, and that would be acceptable to me, and that I would laugh about it later. I mean, if
Yeah.
somebody tries to rob me, I'm going to shoot them.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what a different
Right?
what a different way of living the American experience.
Wow, that is kind of profound. I that kind of changed because they don't know anything else.
Right.
Just like from J.D. Vance. Oh God. Anyway.
He's what a story.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when I read the book, so the movie's great. We all need mamas, but the book hit home on the aspect of childhood trauma in our society and what it causes such, and how if we could fix that. How do you fix it? We're all trying to. I mean, even your dad is not perfect, so I mean, we're all fixing.
He's pretty close.
He is pretty. But I mean, seriously, childhood trauma. Who knew?
Yeah, and what the thing is about JD, and what's I guess a little bit dangerous for us as individuals when we look at JD Vance is JD Vance is someone who had the odds.
Completely.
Right. For every JD Vance, there are 1,000 kids or 10,000 kids who lived an experience similar to his that never got it. I mean, what a unique individual to be able to say, okay, I'm going to move this child. And there are a lot of people who just don't have that sort of strength to do that, or don't have the opportunity. JD Vance, how much of it strength, how much luck? Well, probably a combination of both.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, it's really a tremendous. The things that happen to you in childhood matter. The things that happen to you when you have no control over your life, they stick. I see that a lot with people that I deal with. My line of, sexual abuse cases, for instance. When you really sit down and have an honest conversation with someone who's done something horrible, hey, tell me about your child and the kind of hell they lived when they were children. It inflicts a generation of trauma on our society. I just don't know how to break. I tell you another example is when I worked at my prior system in Chattanooga, because of the way their drug court operated, I was actually present for a lot of drug recovery intake interviews, right, where they would interview people, see whether they qualify for the street. And one of the standard questions was, how old were you at the first time you used controlled substance? And it was usually marijuana, and it was usually about 12 for these people that were in the criminal justice system, charged with crime, and that were addicted to controlled. And then, how old were you when you used something harder? Usually about 14, and it would usually be meth, right?
Oh.
And and here's the shock, right? The evaluator would ask, where did you? And so when you talk about these generational problems you got a parent who's addicted to ketamine or addicted to heroin, and this kid over here bothering me. And how do you fix that? I wish I had an answer.
We got to stop the generational first, but that goes back to your answers, is they don't know anything different. They have never seen anything different. They think it's
Which goes back even further to you talking about what a role model Charlie Kirk is.
Right.
That you get when you expose people to a life they could be living. What a powerful thing that. sometimes it leads to jealousy, which leads to a bad place.
Right.
But you know, when people see, hey, I, that could be a why we're having role models like that are out there that are accessible or celebrated.
Yeah, you have to experience it because I was jokingly saying, well, if 98% of our men in Grundy were like Charlie Kirk, we wouldn't have any issues,
Probably true.
right? Because it does, and we go back to, because Dad always, my dad always told me that our society was ruined Johnson, B. Johnson during, I think it was the Great Society or whatever it was that he did, that incentivizes women not, how it had decimated black culture because the black culture was very
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and when they started disincentivizing that marriage principle and having a strong male in the home, that
Well, one of the most encouraging statistics about our present is when you look at millennials, when you look compared to baby boomers, compared to the divorce rate greater. But when you look further, they're not getting married.
I think that okay, because I was about to say, I was like, that's kind of interesting. No, and they're not procreating either.
Right.
As I've tried to, or I'm waiting for a grandchild, but it's just, and we're not replenishing, we're not being fruitful, and it's just our society has.
Well, and when we have a retirement system that is built having multiple work free, there's a cliff with America's fertility rate. I'm as guilty of it as anybody. I have one child. I'm only ever one child. You know, it's the economic reality of America today is it's really expensive to have more than one child.
It
It's
really
expensive
is.
to have even one. And but yeah, it's there's a cliff. Once again, we're gonna fix it.
So last question, asking is this, Stephen, when we came in, so are we going to be affected by the shutdown? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. How would that,
Well, it's the classic thing. The essential people are still going to work. Employees are furloughed, which begs the question: essential employees, the federal government. The it has a extreme effect on those who keep doing the soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, guardians, space. It has a extreme effect on those people still going to work every day and not, right? How does it impact day-to-day life? Well, unless you're wanting to do something for which you have to have the interaction with the government, that's probably not. If I wanted to go buy a silencer, I probably wouldn't be able to do that because the people at the ATF that approved those transactions are home, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, probably not going to affect you for me at least a while. But when there is a shut, that people really worry about people who you have a private army. Less than 30. He's not even getting, but he's still notice shot at. So that's what I always think. There's a shut.
Do they get?
In theory, yeah, they always do, right? In theory, it's not but what generally happens is Congress reaches some sort of an they refund the government.
You remember when was it? Of our.
Oh yeah. Let's.
Remember that?
Yeah, So that goes back to the blame game when this happens. So I'll never forget that he shut down the federal parks, including the parks that wouldn't be staffed.
I know.
They shut down monuments in Washington D.C. that don't have any staff.
I didn't.
One of the proudest moments for just America that I think I've ever seen was because that was I think 2013 maybe.
I think it was 13.
And it's pretty rare to see a World War II veteran today. They're all of them that are still living are well over 100 years old at this point, really. But there were a lot more of them in 2013. And I saw a video of these old men getting off the bus who had taken, because at that time, the World War II monument was built when World War II veterans were already old.
Yeah.
right? And there was a movement to try to bring World War II veterans to Washington D.C. to see their monument. Right? Well, there was a big trip of these World War II veterans flown into Washington by a group doing that that came in when the government was shut. And it was really inspiring watching the old men knock down the barrier to go see their monument.
Well, okay, I almost last topic. Pete had bringing in the generals, and you're back.
Well, I'm not winning any foot races, but that if I'm Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps or a specialist in the Army, seeing this guy who left the Army as a major, not a dick, but one of the tenets of American society is civilians control the military. It's supposed to is to see him up there telling generals, hey, you're going to be held the same that specialist or that airman. What a powerful thing. I mean, leadership is something you do by example, and I mean, generals shouldn't look like me. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. They shouldn't look. If you bought me a uniform and you could we could wear the same uniform, that's not okay. Well, that shouldn't be. So.
But yeah, it's changing things. It's abrupting process. It's exciting. I tell everyone that I have to sit on my hands because I've wanted this since college. Everybody was around, love their wife, right? Love their wife, God, and love this the right. And reality set in, but they're just doing things that we've wanted.
Well, I think it's indicative of a kind of a broader political. When you look at the different two political parties, the Democratic Party, and for whatever reason, is obsessed with this idea we should be governed, whatever it is, we should be governed by, and we should people should die alone because experts say that there's an effect, right? Well, it's okay that these generals that they can't pull up because you know what, they've been doing this experts and it's not acceptable to have a civilian former a retired or not even retired, he would hire a former major direct generals around because they're the experts, right? For whatever reason, that's kind of a central tenet of the party, supposed explanation. Right? Well, that's not what America is. America is a republic. America is built on the idea that my say counts. Just right. That we trust people best for the people, and I just what you're seeing is race. You know what? The people voted this administration on free election. We're not going to abdicate the responsibility of governance that's been existing in the structures of government for that the people are going to have their will and people are who are almost right. Yeah, I wish there'd been an inauguration party like that. He had a real rager at the White House when he was inaugurated. So.
But I mean, President Trump is he's a populist president. Jeff seems to want. I mean, he gives the producers are the measure of, and his Avengers. It's just all the fierce that he is giving them the.
If they're not doing it, he has.
He fires.
If they're not doing it, he fires them. Has Marco Rubio do the job. That's the.
And who have ever thought that Marco Rubio
would be running half the government?
But he chose it.
Yeah.
I mean, and they were against each other.
Yeah.
They ran against, and he has put people who is against.
He recognizes talent.
Yes, instead of politics, it's always been, we're going to. No, he put the best people in places, and I'm like, novel. We're like, run this. Now we're, oh, I think we're, Eric, what do you think about that? I'm super excited about it, but I have no idea what.
Well, one of the things about that and this is a conservative legal
Okay.
is Congress or the Constitution, right? And Congress has delegated. There's a legal principle, and it's kind of, I won't call it fringe, but it's not the court's not their, it's not their favorite. There's this thing called the non that says that when the Constitution says, "Hey, Congress, this power belongs to you," that Congress should not be able to then say, "We're going to do that." No, so I'm not crazy about where the Constitution said it's Congress's president. We're going to let. I'm not. I don't like. I don't that help. As a
Yeah, because it.
right. As tariffs go, as a matter of, if if tariffs and they coerce another country treating us fairly, hey, then okay, that's cool. But I think as a broader principle of, hey, we're going to impose tariff on every, and I'm not a fan of, because ultimately, right,
Right.
as money comes in, as the goods come in, it's you can actually see it right now if you go on eBay. If you want to buy something, like, shipping is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
because what's happening is the price. So I think broad tariffs are not good policy. I think it winds up as a tax consumer. Targeted tariffs that are laser focused. Hey, we're going to make your goods uncompetitive fairly.
Because I agree with
Yeah.
that. We have been, as Dad said, been taking advantage of the world trade.
Sure. And I will tell you this, obviously our the country that always comes up in all. China is America rated. China, by the end of the next decade, is probably going to have 7. You have a country that's rapidly arming itself, that is becoming increasingly assertive on the world. We are fighting.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's not that they're out competing America manufacturing or American trade. China is becoming successful largely on American property. So if I create some widget, if I invent some new thing, it's really ingenious, and I decide, hey, I'm going to go work with a Chinese to manufacture this according to the United States, that what's then going to happen is intellectual property is going to be stolen by the Chinese, and you're going to have Alibaba and Amazon flooded with knockoff product, and nobody in China is going to enforce, right? And that's unacceptable behavior, and China needs to be held to account. What you have is you have institutions Chinese
really
economy. What's going on. So, is there going to be a price for American consumers to pay to try to have a more fair relationship? Maybe, but certainly China is and we're being honest. If 20th century was 21st.
I think we need 12 years of constant focus on doing what's going on right.
J.D. Vance may get it.
I love him. I feel like he's like my kinfolk, right? I just feel like somewhere the branches came this way and somewhere our DNA is, because he's like all of us. No, he's fierce. He's
J.D. Vance is the American dream.
he is.
Yeah. He lived. Mom was struggling with addiction. Dad wasn't able, raised largely by his. He lived an experience that many Americans live, and the Marine enlists in the Marine Corps. Doesn't go to officer. He enlists in the Marine Corps. You know, uses the JI Bill to go to college and winds up voting. That's the American dream. He's lived the American dream, and you know this little kid that grew up in Ohio in this unstable environment as the vice president of the United States. I mean, what an amazing.
And that gives hope. I mean, that's Appalachia. That is the rural. That's rural. He gets us, and that's who we need in an elected office, not folks. The cities, gosh, run us for so long. Right. Well, any last? I told you we were going to talk about. I could talk. Any last words? How? Any new projects for the Defender's Office at all?
New projects? I wouldn't say that. Just trying to kind of keep things rolling. You know, we have a social work program that, well, not program. We have a social came into our office a couple years ago, and that's really helped a lot of folks. We're trying to. One of the big things is the drug court relaunch in our district about 2 years ago. After a brief hiatus, and trying to expand. Actually, our drug court now is being run by South Sources Agency, and so it exists in every. Years ago, if I was in Reiki recovery court, to actually move, now that's true. So yeah, that's been a big thing. It's really been helpful.
Legislation, real quick. I know I said that. Someone approached me, and I did not know that this was an issue, but I guess it is. In the law, so addicts make bad mistakes, bad choices as a youth, and it just follows you, right? That's why people send their kids to college, so that they have training wheels,
right?
For them to get in trouble, because we make youthful mistakes, and so you get these mistakes, you get this sometimes bad record, and they get clean. So they get clean, they're ready to go, but now they can't get housing because of these whatever's on their record.
So Tennessee's actually made pretty good in that direction. Probably been on the books for about 10 years now, maybe 12. Tennessee, it used to be in Tennessee, unless you were put into what's called a diversion program, where it never actually are convicted. Once you were convicted, either could never.
Yeah.
Ever. That's changed. Now, for certain things, more minor it's expunged. Now, it's still pretty limited. There are a lot of things that some for good reason, like you probably shouldn't rape, right? So, right. But there are other things that maybe you should be able to expunge. But that program has been expanding somewhat. There's definitely like a movement when somebody has maybe gone years and years and years without any proving that this is a youth. That's definitely some movement in that. One of the things that that a lot of people don't realize, that don't work, where people get themselves in trouble. The young kid who gets addicted to drugs.
And he's stolen everything
right.
in the county.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that happens is if I've got I sold everything, trying to steal. Maybe I've been, but I'm out of money. But all I want is. That, one of the things, I'll go to get drugs. Say, buy 6. Then take half. Yeah, that's one. That's a major way it disperses. Yeah,
really
is is, we all have this image in our heads of Tony Montana
Yeah.
as the drug, but the vast majority of the actual drug have come from some really small scale person who's buying twice.
So they,
Right, right, and that's your actual typical drug dealer.
Really?
But now there are people that are rolling in the dough that are bringing it in, they're trafficking, right?
Yeah.
But the actual person that, and not in every case, but in a lot of cases, there's a lot of people who are selling to support their habit set, and
Okay.
and now that's dangerous. I mean that once
Yeah.
again, that's how fentanyl. You're getting drugs from a friend who you trust,
Who you trust?
who got them from somebody that you have no idea who they are, but
Yeah.
you're not necessarily thinking of. And so yeah, it's a source of. But what the reason I bring that up is, if I sell, if I get 6 methamphetamine from a bigger dealer, use half of it, 3 grams of methamphetamine, I've actually committed a very serious
It is.
that is going to follow me, and it's not going to be able to get expunged. Right? So, but that's part of what that following is people who are, maybe we consider them small criminals,
They're
but they're
just supporting their habit.
yeah, but they've committed a very serious crime on it, and so
Yeah.
that's where part of that.
Okay, that makes sense because that makes sense. All right. I think that's it. Fentanyl, is the fentanyl still an issue?
Still an issue, because it takes so little to be making that hard. We've all seen the thing on the internet where it'll show a couple of good powder the size of a grain of sand. They say, "Oh, this much will kill you." Well, that much fentanyl can kill you less than hot, right? So it's so the reason fentanyl is such an issue. If you smell within a space, it's worth a lot of.
Hot.
So that's so yeah, we still see the word manufacturing. Like I said, they only embrace parts. Want the money.
Yeah.
They just want the money.
Yeah, well, the takeover is we refuse to do it. All right. Well, I'm gonna dead out to spread joy and. Yeah, what are you doing today? What are you getting into?
Heading over to Franklin courthouse.
Do you ever know Peter?
I know Bob by reputation. I think I might have met him one. I know his sister, Joanne,
The one and
is the
only
most wonderful
Joanne.
is the most wonderful person I know. He's just standing. I get to see his nephew Andy. A lot, so.
Yeah. Well, his the reason why I say that is there are certain people that are large, live big life ashes, and Bob Peters was one of them. And he was that orator that.
I hear stories about Bob pretty regularly when I'm over in
Right.
Franklin County.
Well, his obituary popped himself.
He died about 4 years ago. Does that sound about right?
But yeah, living and being. All right, I really am. I'm going to set that out to spread joy and sunshine. We're going to go on a quick break. Thank our sponsors. We've got a big weekend up as always. Thanks for watching.
There's a danger that I fear many, including myself at times, fall into when we study Scripture. The danger is that we look so closely at our particular text that we fail to put the text into context. For example, I've experienced many who do this with the teachings of Jesus. We'll be looking at one particular parable of Jesus, trying to determine its meaning, and yet we neglect the other parables that surround the one we're considering. Jesus really didn't teach that way. When he taught, he often had blocks of teaching, often consisting of multiple phrases or multiple parables, all of which dealt with the same subject matter. So if you're having trouble with a particular teaching of Jesus, it's probably a good idea to consider the larger block of teachers surrounding it. Let's quickly put this into action. Consider with me the last block of teaching by Jesus in Matthew's gospel account. In Matthew 24 and 25, Jesus is going to teach his disciples. In chapter 24, he instructs them about the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem and the coming of the Son of Man. And there's much debate about what exactly Jesus means in this chapter. Chapter 25 continues the same block of teaching, but Jesus tells parables. He tells the parable of the 10 virgins, the parable of the talent, and then he describes the separation of the sheep and the goats on the day of judgment. Would it surprise you to learn that all of these individual parts, which can individually be quite difficult, they all deal with the same point? Be prepared for the coming of the Lord. It's throughout it all. The main point of chapter 24, regardless of whether Jesus is speaking only about the destruction of the temple, or if he's also speaking about the final day of judgment, regardless of which one it is, both and, the main point is be prepared for that day. When it comes to the parable of the virgin, 5 of them enjoy the wedding feast, 5 are turned away. Some were prepared, some were not, and you cannot share preparation. Look at the talents. The servants used their wealth in service of their master, not knowing when he would return. And when he does return, he rewards the servants who use their talents for him, all except the final servant. He didn't use his talent, and by not using it, he failed to be prepared for the master's return. And then there comes the separation of the sheep from the goat. What's that all about? Well, it's going to be about preparation. It's what he's all talking about. And so who are those who are prepared for their master's return? The prepared are those who feed the hungry, who clothe the naked, who house the homeless, who visit the sick and the prisoner. It's all about preparation in this block of teaching. Be prepared for the return of the Lord. I hope this one example is beneficial for you in your walk with the Lord. When we consider Scripture, let's make sense of the part by considering the whole. And as we wait for the return of our Lord, may we actively be prepared for his coming. I'm J.D. Cantrell, a member at the Monteagle Church of Christ, but really I'm just a guy who loves Jesus and follows after him. May you do the same, and may you be.
Tracy Clinic, located at 740 Main Street in Tracy City, specializes in family medicine. Nurse practitioner Devin Land Lampley is now seeing patients. Call today for an appointment at 592-4242. Open 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. That's the Tracy Clinic, 592-4242.
Sequatchie Valley Electric Cooperative is here to serve you in your business or in your home. Pay your electric bill in the comfort of your own home with SVEC's new online billing service. Wouldn't it be nice to know in advance how much to budget for your electric bill each month? Visit us at one of our convenient offices or go online to www.svalleyec.com. Sequatchie Valley Electric, providing electrical service to over 33,000 homes and businesses in all or portions of Bledsoe, Grundy, Marion, Sequatchie, Coffee, Hamilton, Ray, and Van Buren counties in Tennessee. SVEC, staying up with today and working for tomorrow.
TennCare's new diaper benefit helps our youngest members and their families stay healthy and happy. If your child is younger than 2 and has TennCare or Cover Kids, they can get up to 100 diapers every month at no cost. To get diapers, visit a participating pharmacy. You don't need a prescription. Just show your child's pharmacy card at the counter. For newborns without a card, you can use the parent's pharmacy card. The pharmacy staff will check to see if you qualify and help you get up to 100 diapers for a month. 10 Care will cover a variety of diaper brands and sizes to meet your child's needs. You can find a list of covered brands on the 10 Care diaper webpage.
Diapers are available at Mike's Pharmacy, located at 740 Main Street in Tracy City. That's Mike's Pharmacy, 592-9190.
Piggly Wiggly, a supermarket chain since 1916, operates more than 600 locally owned stores, including the Monteagle location that now stocks the largest selection of fine wine, domestic and import beer in the area. Piggly Wiggly's farm fresh fruit is a sweet deal at everyday low prices. Piggly Wiggly stocks carefully selected, always fresh vegetables from the common to the unusual. All of the organic products we sell meet strict USDA guidelines. The Pig has a large meat department that to this date custom cuts and wraps its pork, chicken, and Certified Angus beef to your request. Certified Angus beef brand is a cut above USDA Prime Choice and Select. With a large dairy selection of fresh milk and cheese products and your favorite drink products, you will never go home thirsty from the Pig. Visit the Piggly Wiggly Deli and put in your order for an outstanding selection of cheeses, salads, and deli meat products from Boar's Head brand and more. Be sure to check out our weekly special circular for great deals. That's the Piggly Wiggly of Monteagle, Tennessee.
At the caverns, you can tour a cool cave, listen to live music underground, or just kick back at the outdoor amphitheater. It's homegrown fun deep in the Tennessee hills. Check out what's going on at www.thecaverns.com, where the destination becomes the journey. Dr. Eric Shull of Shull Chiropractic Clinic is proud to serve our community from his new office at 16 First Street in Monteagle, right across the street from DuBose. Offering trusted, effective care for all ages, including spinal decompression, dry needling, infrared therapy, shockwave therapy, and they even have an on-site x-ray. Come see what a difference it makes to feel good again. Call 931-924-4869 to set up your appointment today. Tracy City welcomes Trackside, open 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner right across the street from Roundhouse Park in Tracy City. Come join the crew in saying, who has more fun than us? All right. I know, I went the whole time. Point of personal privilege. That was just great. I love that. All right, a lot going on this weekend by the Grundy County Herald. Saturday, I'm birthing a bicycle poker run, Monteagle Pedal Party. If you see folks wearing the event staff thing around their neck, tomorrow I'm going to have a hospitality crew just kind of cruising. The bicycle run is between Monteagle and Tracy. Probably spend most of the time in Tracy City during the Fiery Gizzard Festival. There's 7 stops. They're on bicycles and they're hanging out from 10 to 4 in our beautiful area. So if you see the riders are going to have these little VIP armbands, and staff who are I'm calling them my hospitality staff will have these around their neck, just hanging out in Tracy City. I've got Beth Reiner going to be doing some hospitality work. I may even put one of these onto Eric because he's a hospitality staff all the time. He'll be hanging out. So I should have several folks, including myself, with these on just to be there in case our participants need something. But it's going to be a big fun day over in Tracy City. Lots going on everywhere else. But this is the big, and the horse show at 2:00. It all revolves around. It is packed full. I think there's like 5 fundraisers going on. Sewanee's football game, speaking of tonight, is our Grundy County 6-0 football team going to Monterey, up my dad's neck of the woods. So that's tonight. Check out Yellow Jacket Media. That is Tyler Brown's crew. They will be there and keeping us updated. So go team! 6-0. That's huge. All right. Today is, let me not forget, today is October 3rd. Danny and Diane Gibson over at fundraiser over at Grootley Logger Community Center. $12 per plate, starts at 10 o'clock. They're going to have barbecue, slaw, rolls, the whole 9 yards. So come on out, help support Danny and Diane Gibson. Save the day, blah, blah, blah. That's all I got. All right, let's go to birthdays really quick. Today is Dee Dee's birthday. That's Barbara's baby. Happy birthday to Dee Dee. Deanna. Dee Dee. Nothing else on this weekend. Let's see what Facebook land has to say. Steven, do you have to be anywhere? All right, so we're good. I just to do, and I'm just I'm happy to be here. It's a beautiful day. All right. William Evans. I'm not sure what's going on with William. He's not on Facebook. I haven't seen him post in like a couple of years. He could be in jail. I don't know. William is in the hospitality industry. It takes a certain kind of crazy to be in the hospitality industry, and Will is the best at it. But there's also a downside to that. So happy birthday to Will. Such a bright bulb there. Christian Ojeda. Love him and his beautiful bride, Taylor. Happy birthday to Christian. I talk about Christian in the context of, in the business in Monteagle, Lakeside Collision. He was probably the nicest guy under adversity of the Monteagle zoning process that I've ever seen. Never saw him got flustered during the HE double toothpick. I give that a lot of credit to be that beautiful human during that process. So I love that. Happy birthday, Christian. John Meldorf, is that his last name? Lawyer in, I think he's retired by now, but a lawyer over in the Chattanooga area. Love him. Jeff Crouch, happy birthday, buddy. He's kind of a cool dude. I've been trying to look more on the background. He's a cool dude. You know what? He's got a book out. He lives in Sparta. I may have to ask. Come on. He's wrote a book called Hillbilly Gospel. Must have just come out, and it has been quite a week since the Hillbilly Gospel link went live, and that is all right. I know a brand new book and a brand new store can feel a little unfamiliar. If you've been waiting or wondering, here's the blah blah blah. For anyone who prefers to buy through larger retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, blah, blah, blah. All right, so Hillbilly Gospel, a boy, his daddy, and the land that raised them. That's beautiful. So anyway, that's his birthday. I may have to get him on the show. Happy birthday to Doris Mossborn. Happy birthday to Miss Doris. Joseph Hines. Billie Jean. I don't know Billie Jean's last name, but Billie Jean, happy birthday, honey. I think it is Big Kim's better half's birthday today, Kim. So happy birthday to Kim. That's what I think. Coming up this weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend too, by the way. Oh, and the Woolly Worms and the Persimmons are all, and the bees on high ground are all predicting a pretty heavy winter. Just FYI. Just FYI. And someone goes, I've never heard of those sayings. I'm like, well, then you ain't from around here, son, because that's how we roll. He's a city boy. He just doesn't know. City folks don't know. Harley Cross's birthday is tomorrow. Miss Harley is a Monteagle gal, was raised. She had Wonder Brew, and now she is going to. I talked to her husband Basil after the meeting. Going into the she's in law enforcement, and she is going to the big class that Kayla took, so that you can be bona fide in the law. So happy birthday to Harley. She is a beautiful human. Shannon Hill Williams, Dwayne Anderson, Veronica Folk, Lee Hall, Chris Paris, Jason Cole. Oh, Hayes Ledford, that's in memory of. I just keep him as a friend because I love him. He was on the show before. He passed.
Brenda Gadd, politics there, we probably disagree. Brandy Lawson, hey, that's Sunday. Happy birthday, Brandy Lawson. Randy Melton, that's Steve's baby. Happy birthday, Randy. Sunday's also Jan Bobo Brewer. That is Rooster's Honey, and they have done such a fine job with all their kids and everything. And happy birthday, Miss Jan. And she's retired. They're living their best life. David Payne, happy birthday. Oh, Paula Curry's birthday is on Monday. Oh, so is Shane Coles. Oh, look at all these birthdays tomorrow. I love her October birthdays. All right, got that. Let's go to prayer list. Herbert Lawson has passed. That's part of the Lawson bunch. That's Miss Ophelia's brother. Miss Ophelia is the eldest of that. And I think there was 12 of them, 13 of them, 14 of them. Let me know on that. But Herbert has died. I want to say he was 51 maybe. Herbert Lawson. So definitely prayers out to the whole clan for that. For our October prayer list, we're going to continue to pray for Deborah Drury, Jeff Pickett, Jay Langford, Long Road, Patsy Kennedy, Blondell Lockhart, Ronnie Bryant, a.k.a. Spider-Man, Charlie. We need to get that blood pressure stabilized. Leslie, got to get that junk out. It keeps on. It's just got to go. Baby Luke Bryan, or Luke Bryan. No, it's not Luke Bryan. Baby Luke Green. He's still not, he's not out of the woods yet, and just want to continue prayers for him. All the unspoken, there's plenty of them out there. Let's pray for the nation. We're going to pray for Mike. Who moved? Oh. Well, anyway, and then Herbert Lawson family. We're going to pray for Mike. We don't know Mike, so that's it. We don't know Mike's last name, but we're going to pray for Mike. And Herbert Lawson family, and of course I want to continue to pray for Miss Ophelia. Anyway, Miss Stola and Miss Linda. Lord, it's a crazy time, and we're so thankful for you. There's a couple of extra prayer requests, if you don't mind, just giving them an extra special light. And we're just so thankful that you are always with us, even when it is the darkest time in the valley of sorrow. You are our light. So thank you so much for everything that you do for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, let's get to the phones. I know we're way past due, and Stephen and I don't have really anything. So we're just going to get through all the phone calls that want to call in today for this Friday, and then we'll be back on Monday, and we'll find out who's going to, I think next week we're kind of full. So let's go. Morning.
Yeah, Miss Hale.
Oh, look at you holding on. Happy Friday, Lily.
It's been what, a couple of weeks, and I'll be the first one talking.
I know. I mean, it wasn't a perfect record, but you have done quite well, sir.
Oh, yeah, and I hang on up 10,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, persistence, boom.
Yeah,
boom.
and I take my time just hang on, And...
Thank you, and you're sweet. Granny may be yelling at me, but you are sweet. Hey, all right, so what's the big games tomorrow?
Well, I think we play Texas tomorrow.
Ooh.
I don't know what time I'll find out.
Well, we're going to find out right now really quick. Put college scores. All right. All right, let's find. So you think they're playing, all right, here we go. What week are we in? We are in week 6 of 15.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Georgia's playing Kentucky. I don't know if that's anything big, but that's tomorrow. Michigan, we don't care about that. All right, here we go. 2:30 tomorrow, and Texas is number 9.
I better go with, but see, I think we're not fighting them in Texas anyway.
Yeah.
Texas Longhorn come to us last year, we're playing Slump, so that'll be there,
So
right
does it mean if it's on the top that that's the home team, Stephen? Like when they list them, it says Texas versus Florida. If they're on top, does that mean that they're home? The bottom is home?
It's at Florida. So the bottom's home? Okay. Hey, that's going to be a fun game, Lily. What do you think? You feel good?
Yeah. You said that'd be what, 2:30 tomorrow?
That's what it says. It says 2:30. Yeah. So you may get a whooping on.
Oh, well, we did last year, but I don't know about this year. So maybe we if we deal with Texas, we might give them the whooping that they did us last year.
Hey, you gotta go swinging for the Raptors. All right, the other big game, and that's what Stephen had mentioned to me. Oh, and this is kind of funny, 10-16. Vanderbilt against Alabama. Who do you think's going to win that one?
Well, between me and you, I say Vanderbilt probably win that one.
Oh, I'm telling PC and Tommy and Lisa.
Well, now PC so tough that now Tommy Fury, he just reading at me about what is what, but now PC, I won't pick on him.
No, you won't pick. Well, Alabama's 10 and Vanderbilt 16, so that should be. Vanderbilt beat them last year, right?
I think they did, or Alabama whoop them one. I didn't tell you, because I know I watched some of it last year. I didn't tell if Alabama did or Vanderbilt did or what.
All right. Ooh, here's a good one, because you know that we always are going to have to root for the Hurricanes. Miami is number 3, and they're playing Florida State, who is 18. Who do you think is going to win that one?
I say Florida State probably win that.
Oh my goodness! Well, it's 3 against 18. You think Florida State's going to win? You better not say that in front of Misty.
Well, she I understand, but no, I know thought it'll be Miami Dolphins deal, but now
I'm going to have to go with Carly. I don't know, Leland.
I will when Miami finds somebody, but not us, or but I will go for my Hurricanes to play Tennessee. I don't know if they'll play Tennessee or Alabama, but I know Florida State played Alabama. Alabama thought that they'll beat Florida State, but Florida State said, "Oh, you ain't. You down at home. You here in Tallahassee with us, and we don't see who don't win." What happened? Florida State whooped Alabama pretty bad.
Well, that's the fun of football. All right. Well, happy Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that it's a good football game, and we will talk on Monday.
Yeah, I'll fish it out. I'll see what I do. So I talk to few people, hear a few minutes.
All right. Well, I've got to go.
Okay. And I'll talk to you.
I hope you have a great weekend, though.
Yeah, you too, but
I got to go.
Okay. I'll talk to you.
All right. See you. Bye. Morning.
Morning.
Hey, I know. Granny, yell at me. Come on. I miss it. All right. You got hospital beds for me?
I'm not going to say you long. But anyway, I still got those hospital beds.
Yes, ma'am.
There's 2 of them, and got the mattresses with them and everything. They're practically new, and I'll take $125 for each one of them.
Each one of them. Come on out to Hubbard's Cove and see Miss Elledge. Give her a call.
And we got a little more stuff out, too.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay,
and,
then I get off and let somebody else go home.
Well, thank you so much for holding on, and I'm so glad that you're calling.
Okay, thank you.
All right, honey. See you. Bye. 635-2967. Miss Elledge is down in Hubbard's Cove, and all of her kids just drop off stuff, and you never know what she's going to have there, and hospital beds are sometimes handy to have. So anyway, I got one more phone call. Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Frida, what you doing?
Making dinner.
Oh, we saw yesterday, I had this meeting with some state park folks, and while we were standing at a location over on 41 in Tracy, there goes like a 20-foot skeleton on a flatbed. It was hilarious. And I was like, was it going to your house?
No.
It was. I mean, you can't make this up. It was like it was on a flatbed, a big long truck flatbed, and it took up the whole thing. So somebody's loving that Halloween somewhere. Wait, what are y'all into today?
Fixing his dinner.
Where you?
Don't. I live restroom me is Diane.
Oh, you guys are having a party over there. Where you? 595. I know that. All right, I got Diane over there. Anybody else over there we need to register?
Yeah, Sandy.
All right, what number is that?
931 952 8086.
8086. I love it. You girls have fun.
Thank you.
Anything I need to know? Oh, you guys are over at the fundraiser, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, everyone go out, grab some barbecue and some slaw and some great food and see the girls.
Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll holler later if you need anything.
Okay. If you ain't heard from the old man, did you?
Not yet. No, he's out. I had Ted on, our public defender, until 9. So.
The grumpy old man.
Well, you know he is. That's okay. He's awful cute though. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Very successful, and raise lots of money for those two. All right, that's it. That's it. All right. I am going to go out and spread joy and sunshine this weekend. You see one of these, be careful. Oh my gosh, be careful with bicycles. They're all over the place, and they're going to continue to be all over the place. So you might as well just get a bike and be. There is nothing funner than going on that bicycle and going on that trail. I'm telling you. So just be careful. Just be mindful all day tomorrow that there are going to be bicycles riding around, and they may not know where they're. So just keep that in mind. Be careful. Be hospitality. Can I help you? Be your wonderful, wonderful self, and just try to be help them out if you see somebody lost in the lost, whatever. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ride around. We have a bunch of folks riding around, making sure everybody's okay. So anyway, just to have just a happy there. Let me see who's on Monday. All right. I think like I said, I think I've got all week booked. Emily Ezel is going to talk about, she's coming in, that is the Hammer Girl. Joanne, I don't even know how to even say her first name. Isn't that funny? I always call her the Hammer Girl. Her daughter, who is a complete she was an educator in Franklin County, Joanne was, but her daughter's going to come on and talk about the Veterans Day program at, it looks like Cowan Elementary School Student Council. I don't know. We're going to find out on Monday. All right. That's it. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank y'all so much for being patient with me during Ted Engel. I just have to get him about that. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful weekend. As always, thanks for watching Morning on the Mountain. I'll see you on Monday.